Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the APNIC member meeting today. And we are at the final, especially to be here with you at the final day of APNIC 60. So before I start, I'd like to invite all APNIC Executive Council quickly introduce yourself. Can we start from the one from my far right, from Mats?
Okay, this is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki, the treasurer. Thank you very much.
This is Achia Chensa from Philippines.
This is Anli from China.
So I'm Kem Seong from Singapore.
I'm Rupinder Parhar from India.
This is Shona Misal from Bangladesh.
I'm Jarong, the Director General.
Kelly Huang, Chair of APNIC Executive Council. On behalf of APNIC Executive Council, I'd like to thank you for your active participation over the past few days. The discussion we have so far has been very, very active and also very, very useful, valuable. And thank you for your contribution for the past few days. I think that's set the stage for our work for today. And today, actually, we have this moment, this meeting is very crucial for us and to guide the APNIC and to make very critical decision for us. So your voice and your commitment actually are what very important to allow us to make a very important decision and also make our community strong. So thanks again for your dedication and for your participation to the APNIC community. And let's make this a very productive and successful meeting. Okay, I'd like to move to the next one, will be APNIC DG report presented by our DG Jiarong Luo. Let's welcome Jiarong.
Hi, everybody. Thanks again for traveling all the way here to Da Nang. And we spent the past few days together. So I'll just jump into the report. So for those who attended APRICOT in February, I promised the EC and promised all of you at the time that we had to do some restructuring and realignments. And the outcome of that promise would be a balanced forecast budget by 2027. And for those who have been following, we did go through a realignment process and we completed that in June. And with that, we have worked on the budget forecasting as well. So I'm very happy to announce that we are forecasting to be going back to a balanced budget by 2027, as shown on the slide here. We had to do some realignment work and focus on looking at our strategies and think about how we adjust. But by doing that, we can contain our costs rather than rely on certain external factors of which we have no control, which includes the least developed country graduations. So there had to be quite a bit of work around it, but I'm very happy that we are able to get to where we are forecasting-wise. And this was one of the key pieces of feedback from all of you, from the members. I promised to give you predictability about our finances. So this is a high-level update from my side. Later, Mars will give a treasurer's update. He will cover the details. Now, a second point at the bottom of this slide is also about LDC graduation. So I've received quite a lot of feedback, especially from the graduating economies about your concerns. And I have conveyed those concerns to the EC. Now, because we are not factoring in LDC graduation into the forecast for our budget, so we will be able to do something in response to your feedback and your concerns. But I will not share the detail now because we left it for Kenny in his EC update to share that decision. So in some ways, this is a teaser. Now, another key, like I mentioned earlier, the past few months has really been focused on realignment. And we completed that process in June. Now, I'm also happy to report that with the realignment, overall operations are unaffected. Now, details will be shared by Tony in the next segment. We will be covering the activity plan for the past half year. You'll be able to see that we continue to be able to deliver what we promised. So that's really focusing on that. And we, like I mentioned, how we approach the realignment was first to look at our strategies and then discuss that with the EC already before we move forward in terms of making sure that with the realignment, we can continue to operate, continue to deliver what we planned. Now, the second point on this slide is besides the operations piece, we really focus on a few things. So after the realignment, we've gotten the teams to work on updating of their objectives with their new teams. And at this meeting, you would already have noticed we have certain team members with new roles and in working in different areas. So that's progressed already. And in the meantime, we're also developing updated work plans based on the new strategies. So those will come into play towards the end of the year and then go into next year. So these pieces are being worked together at this point. Two other points here also is continue to focus on service improvement. So I'll cover this a little bit. And I know some feedback from some of you has been that you've always been interfacing with this staff previously or that staff previously. But what we want to focus on is really be able to give you a consistent experience, a consistent service. So whether you are meeting, for example, from services team, whether you are meeting Pubudu or you're meeting Joji, you will get the same baseline excellent service. And then it comes with their personal touch in different ways. But the idea is that we can provide you with consistent service throughout the organization. Now, here are some quick details about the realignment. So member and registry services team, a key change and update in strategy is that we will really focus on how can we further improve our service levels, our service delivery for you. So Vivek leads the team and the executive lead is Tony. So Vivek is here on site. So you have seen him with his team. And we don't have the sub-regional teams now. So like I mentioned, whether you used to interface with one person, but now even if you have different interfaces with different staff, you should be experiencing the same consistent service. And if you have any feedback for us, how can we improve further, please feel free to reach out to Vivek, Tony, or me. Now, a second point here will be on the development team. I mentioned this in some updates separately as well. A key focus for development team in the past has been development equals training. So we've adjusted our strategy away from that, and now the focus is we want to focus on how can we move the needle to make the internet better within the remit that is APNIC. In other words, IPv6 deployments, RPKI deployments, supporting IXPs, and so on. So this strategy has a slight pivot, and Shane leads this team for development and also reporting to Tony. Shane is on site as well, so big wave to Shane. So again, if you have any questions or feedback, please reach out to Shane. The third team here would be communications and community engagement. So Sienna's the executive lead. We've expanded on the different functions within this larger group. So it encompasses the list here on this on the screen, and each of the leads for each of the functions are present here. You will be interfacing with them. So for example, Molly, everybody knows her. Then with T, who leads the fellowship program. Melody, you will see her facilitating the different sessions with the SIGs or with the bylaw consultations. And on policy, we had a very robust discussion 2 sessions earlier with Dave. So you can see some of the adjustments already. And again, I hope that you can see the staff stepping up. And if you have any improvements or feedback, please feel free to share with Sienna or me. Then for engineering, Anton continues to be executive lead. He leads a big group that's listed on the screen. We had a members breakfast this morning, which we shared some of the updates there. And we will continue to work on this area as we go forward. Now, another update is corporate services, which is led by Nathan. So Nathan, his previous title was finance director. So now we updated all internal facing services to be grouped under Nathan. So business IT, which is led by Brad, is here. Finance led by Janice. Janice is here as well, somewhere. Yep. And business services will transition to Nathan's group at the end of the year. Another team, this team is relatively new, is called Strategic Relations. Basically looks after the key relationships for APNIC, such as NIRs, and any other key stakeholders in terms of a bilateral working relationship between APNIC and others. So the executive lead is Tony, but if you met me on a bilateral basis, you would see Joyce or Sunny support me. So the three of us are part of that group reporting to Tony. Now, the three other groups that largely remain unchanged are people and productivity, aka HR, which is led by Louise. Then legal is still led by Jeremy. Sorry, I don't see Jeremy, I'm just looking around. Yep, so led by Jeremy, and APNIC Labs is led by Jeff, and these are largely remain unchanged. So you see all the executive leads here on site, and if you have any questions or any feedback, again, feel free to reach out to us. We'll continue to work on improving our service levels, working with you, and really try to provide as consistent service as an organization. So I'll just wrap up with a couple of closing thoughts. So this, at the end of this month, already it's 1 year since I took on this role. So the time has really passed by very quickly. And I'm deeply appreciative of the support from all of you and also from the EC. Appreciate the warm welcome and also the feedback from everyone, some of which are very brutal and honest, but that has allowed us to work on really making improvements working with you. So again, I really appreciate everyone in terms of sharing your feedback with me, and I hope that we can continue to work closely with you to serve and to support you. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jarrell. Next, I'd like to invite Tony to give us the APNIC activity report. Tony, move to you.
Thank you, Kenny. Okay, so I'm going to walk through the work we've been doing at the Secretariat for the first half of this year. So if I can roll it on. So the work that we do at APNIC is categorized under 4 pillars, we call them. They come directly from our strategic plan, which is engagement, registry, development, and capability. So when I go through them today, I'll be categorized under those 4 headings because it links through to the plan. Let's start with registry. I'm going to talk through some of the delegations that we've been doing, which is our core work. The little green you see on these slides is a prediction of where we'll end up by the end of the year. Well, I did say that it was going to be for the first half of the year. Some of these charts here are till the end of August, so you get a few extra bonus months. But for IPv6, it looks like for the year on a linear basis, we'll probably come in above our delegations that we had in 2024, but overall, it's, I guess, fairly flat. IPv4, on the other hand, is the number of delegations we're doing here is actually in decline, and we will end up probably lower again this year than we did in the previous year. Whenever I discuss this slide, everybody asks, what's the big spike in the middle? It was some very large delegations that we made to members in China and India back in 2021, which makes that rather large mountain there. But if you ignore that, overall, the ASN delegations remain fairly steady. In terms of transfers, this year, we'll probably end up probably slightly less transfers than last year. The chart on screen there, you'll see the big dip in the line. That's actually because it's only covering up to the end of August in comparison to the others, which are full years. I expect that to lift in the second half of this year and come in probably slightly below 2024. And in terms of the volume of address space that has been transferred, will probably come in around the same level or slightly below. The V4 pool, this chart here shows the gradual, reduction in V4 that we have. You'll note there's two little blips there, two little jumps, one in the reserved space in green and one in the available pool that follows straight after that 1 year later. This is a result of the historical resource project where there was space reclaimed, and then we wait for it to be tested and cleared, and then it can become added to the available pool. Given that we have a slowing number of IPv4 delegations and the amount of space we have left, I imagine that V4 will last us a few more years yet at least. So APNIC membership continues to grow, albeit at a slower pace than in the past. We added 119 new members in the first half of the year. And our NIR colleagues, the total number of NIR members is now stretched up to 15,000. So you can see on the chart there, we are predicting some growth overall, but it's much slower than it was in the past. We are focused, as Jerong just mentioned there, on improving our service. And I'm glad to say that the service satisfaction from our help desk has remained very high over the start of this year, which is fantastic. And we continue to reduce the average help desk response times now down to 7.1 hours. It was at 7.8 at the start of the year, which is great. I won't talk too much about the delegation reviews. I've got another slide deck on that later in this session. But just to say that the JPNIC review was completed with no issues at the start of this year, and we continue to work with the IDNIC on the remediation around their review. There's been very busy in the product team. If you came along to the breakfast this morning, you would have heard about some of the new product developments that are in the works. But in terms of what has been happening in the first half of this year, improvements across all registry, member products, information products. Probably to call out here, we made some improvements to Dash. As you can see on screen, Dash is our network health tool, checking tool. If you haven't used it, I recommend that you do. It's very useful. We've also added quick adoption statistics based on APNIC Labs data has been added to Resource Explorer. That's our tool that allows you to pull down stats on delegations of all sorts, but quick data is now in there as well. One other thing I wanted to pull out here is that most of our members, when they make changes to Whois, they do so via My APNIC. However, we do have some who still prefer to use email to make changes to Whois updates, and that's been using passwords to do so. That's actually going to be deprecated. That's almost finished that work. And those who do like to use email for Whois will have to use OAuth 2 tokens in future. We do work not just obviously on our own registry, but in helping push that work with our RIR colleagues and others in the community around standard creation. And we have been involved in 2 RDAP extensions that were co-authored by APNIC staff. They have gone through to ISEG review, which is the final stage of the process at the IETF before they become RFCs. RIPE has already implemented those 2 extensions, and we will follow suit very shortly, probably in early 2026. We've also been involved in an RPKI draft as well, which is in the second last stage before moving on to becoming an RFC. So we see it as an important part of what we do to make sure that we're involved in standard creation at the IETF. Okay, let's talk about development. So the training team has been very busy this year. You can see some of the statistics on the screen there. There's been a lot of training. This was in the first half of the year. Since then, it's expanded even more with almost, I think it's almost 1,800 participants trained in face-to-face training, whether that be whether instructor-led, so face-to-face or online. We also have the self-paced APNIC Academy where people can go to do a number of the courses there in their own time, and there's been quite a few completions there you can see as well over the first half. So really important to us, and the satisfaction with that training has remained ridiculously high at 99.22%. I'm not sure we can improve on that. But in addition to the training, we do help our members with technical assistance queries. There was a number of those in the first half of this year. And we also help our good friends over at Wright. We did 2 Atlas Anchor deployments in the first half of this year. We're out and about in the community a lot. You'll see us at all of the NOGs around the region. We also work very closely with CERTs. Adley was supporting CERT Vanuatu's cybersecurity bootcamp in the first half of this year, and I think he just got back from Kiribati as well. So we do a lot of work on the security side as well as working with NOGs. Adley also maintains something called the APNIC HoneyNet, which is very useful for pulling in statistics and information around threats. That information is provided through to Dash, but also to external partners like Shadow Server Foundation, to MISP, and to CERTs in the region as well. Jurong mentioned before in his speech, he was talking about the realignment and the transition that's been going on in the first half of the year. So in addition to the work that we said we would do in the plan, we've also been doing some work in the development area on making some changes as we transit to the new strategy. That's largely occurred in 4 areas, which I have on screen here. So the first of which is the curriculum. Our training curriculum has grown quite a lot over the years. And as we focus in on improving deployment of some of those key technologies that Jurong mentioned earlier, such as IPv6, RPKI, etc., we wanted to look at our curriculum and see, well, let's start focusing on the core, and what we see as probably optional is something that we'll probably spend less time on. And as a result of that review, we will transition away from some of that optional curriculum, but all of APNIC training's content is Creative Commons. So anyone in the community can use it. And we'll spend some time in 2026 probably doing some train-the-trainer work where we can go out in the community and help train up the community to deliver some of the training which we see as optional, so the community can take it on and train it while we focus on the core content. There's been some labs transition around that as well. For our training courses, we use a mix of our own equipment, but also some cloud-based providers. We are moving to a world where we'll be using our own equipment from now on, our own setup. So we're doing some upgrade work on that at the moment, and that will progress through the rest of this year as well in preparation for 2026. The Academy platform is largely unaffected by the curriculum change. We will continue to have all of the curriculum that's on the Academy now. It won't change despite the fact that we will be focusing mostly on the core ourselves. However, the change that will come to the Academy will be a reduction in the amount of virtual labs that we have on the website. There are a lot there at the moment. It does cost us money to run those labs. And so we, as part of our review of what we need to focus on, those labs will reduce. We will probably bring them down to a core amount. That will start in October this year. And into next year, we'll keep an eye on it in terms of usage for popularity. The final piece of the puzzle here is community trainer reviews. We did commit to do this in the 2025 plan. For most of you we've worked with community trainers for many, many years, informally since training began at APNIC, and more formally since the program was created in 2016. But in 2022, we also added a category of community trainers called retained community trainers, where they were given a wage to help us expand our training over each quarter. And we have reviewed the program and determined that we will go back to a fully voluntary model that will begin in 2026. Okay, on the engagement front, Jeff, you all know Jeff, he's very busy with the labs work. He is out and about in the community, presenting at events all around the world, sharing his research. And that research, you can see some of it on screen, the things he focuses on. I think you're all pretty familiar with what Jeff does and his work, but he also collaborates with some of our fellow iStars and other partners in the community, such as GCA, ICANN, and Cloudflare on joint research as well. And if you don't see him out and about in the community, you can read his work on the blog and also listen to him on the Ping podcast as well. He's a regular on that as well. And speaking of those two things, here's some statistics from the growth of both of those. The blog is the chart, but it continues to grow in readership. We thank you for your continued support of that. We also welcome guest posts. As you know, that quite a few of the posts that are on that blog don't come from APNIC. It is designed to be a community publishing resource. So if you have something interesting to say, please get in touch with Dan, who is here somewhere in the room. There he is, arm up. Please get in touch with Dan. He's always happy to hear something, any good technical topics that the community is interested in. He's happy to listen. Policy, we've been a busy year for policy. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because we just had Policy SIG. But Dave has been busy in his new role, getting out and about and promoting the PDP in the community. We are trying to encourage as many people as possible to get involved in policy. If you do have something that you see that you think needs to be fixed, then please get involved. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you may have to push for a while for these changes to happen. But in terms of working with the community, you will find that once something has reached consensus, we can move through with the implementation of that policy and make positive changes. Thanks for coming to the conference. This is the statistics from APRICOT, which was a very big and very successful conference. I think the last time I checked for this conference, we had around 446 or 447 checked in person, and another 50 or so online. So not as big as APRICOT, but still a very big and very successful conference. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give us feedback. We know about the Wi-Fi. We've got the feedback on that. But on everything else, we are definitely welcoming of your feedback to help us improve these conferences. And you may have seen a lot of our fellows walking around at the conference as well. So we had 41 fellows attend from nearly 400 applicants. But the fellows aren't just, the fellowship program at APNIC is not just to come along to the conference. It actually involves a range of, webinars and learning opportunities that happen prior to coming along here. So it gives all of our fellows a chance to learn more about certain technologies and what APNIC does before they come here to the conference, and also to receive mentoring from the community. So I'd like to thank all of the fellows for their participation. I'd like to thank FlexOptic. Renee, thank you for your continued sponsorship. So it's been a great fellowship program, a little larger than normal for us, but it's been very successful. So thanks to the team. They were also joined by some policy fellows. We are having a policy fellowship pilot program this year. So we had 3 policy fellows join that program, and also our friends at TWNIC also brought along two fellows as well. So thank you. There was a lot of newcomers at APRICOT, and I believe probably around a similar percentage here at APNIC 60, around 35–40% as well. So it's great to see new blood, new people coming into the community and learning and sharing sharing knowledge here at the conferences. I hope you've all enjoyed it. As I mentioned before, we do a lot of community engagement. These big donuts behind me show you where we've been doing that engagement and what are the types of things we've been engaging on. A good spread of things. Obviously, training is one of the big ones, but there's plenty of other activities that we go out and do in the community, and also all around the different sub-regions that we service and beyond. We've been very busy outside of our core technical remit and working with stakeholders in internet governance circles and with governments. There've been two large conferences this year, or 2 large events, I guess, in the IG calendar. The first of which was the WSIS Plus 20. We spent a lot of time preparing for that. It's actually, I believe it was in July. we have had a lot of preparations in the lead up to that, and the zero draft from that did have some very positive things to say about the IGF's future, which was one of the main topics of discussion, which is great. We're also in a lot of preparations at the moment for WTDC, which is the ITU World Telecommunication Development Conference. We've spoken a lot about ICP2 at this conference. You've probably heard it ad nauseum from us, that we keep talking about it. So I'm not going to go into it in great detail, except to say thank you to the ASOAC reps in our community who have put in a lot of time, done a lot of calls at weird and wonderful times of the day or night to help progress this, and to the APNIC staff who have also supported the ASOAC through this process. It is important, if you haven't gotten involved or you haven't read through or been involved at all in this ICP2 process, please do read the RIR governance document draft. We welcome the feedback. It's good to have feedback from our community. They will be gathering feedback from all regions. So it's good to have Asia Pacific feedback into this document. And finally, capability. This is the part of the, I guess, of the organization, which is the, I guess, the unseen work that helps the Secretariat run and operate behind the scenes. So we passed our annual financial audit with no problems, which was great. And we also worked quite closely with the EC on reviewing the investment and capital reserve management policies. That review happened earlier this year, and the results of those have been implemented. We've got a new travel management system in place, and that has helped us reduce our travel management costs quite significantly, which has been great. So well done to all involved. And I'm also pleased to say that we passed our ISO 27001-2002 Information Security Management System certification recently. This is actually a change for us. We've had ISO 27001 for a number of years, but the 2002 standard was not what we were certified to. We moved to that. It has additional controls involved, and the team have done very well, and we have passed that certification, which is great. Finally, on the governance front, not a lot to report apart from the election committee overseeing the election earlier this year found no findings of non-compliance, which is always pleasing. And probably the only other thing I'll draw your attention to on this slide is we've established a web page for EC correspondence. So all public correspondence, formal correspondence to the EC is now published for transparency, and you can also see the responses back to the community on that page as well. You can find it on the APNIC website under the EC section. So if you're interested in that, you can see everything we've received so far this year and the responses from the EC. And that's all I have. Well, I'll happy to take questions when we get to the open mic section later on. But I just wanted to say on behalf of the Secretariat, thank you to all the members in the community for your continued support of APNIC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. So I'd like to open mic to the floor. And you please feel free to, if you have any question, comment, suggestion, please share us your soul, and just go before the mic and share your name and affiliation before ask question. Anyone? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, next I'd like to, next agenda will be APNIC EC Treasury Report that will be presented by Mats. Can I invite Mats to go to the stage?
Hi, as an APNIC treasurer, let me deliver treasury report, but before that, I need to see the numbers. Okay, so this is our highlights. revenue year to date is 245,000 below budget. Oh, by the way, the currency is basically the AUD, Australian dollar, otherwise stated. So member revenues are 137,000 above budget. That's good. Investment income is 43,000 above budget. And foundation receipts are 362,000 below budget. Expenses year to date are in 52,000 below budget. Foundation project expenses are 344,000 below budget. Operating expenses are 292,000 above budget. The operating deficit year to date is 236,000. Equity has increased by 33,000 compared to December 2024. The financial stability measure is 16.18 months coverage of our operating expenses. So this is the forecast full year financial performance. So full year forecast revenue is 59,000 above budget. That's good. Full year forecast expenses are 422,000 below budget. Full year forecast operating deficit is 665,000. Yep. So this shows our major revenue trend. Net member growth continue to slow down. So we are less members increase year by year. We improved the investment returns, that's good. Sundry income is below budget. This is a breakdown of membership by economies year to date. Major expense trend. So as our DZ mentioned, realignment has helped to ensure future financial stabilities. APNIC Foundation funding will continue to reduce. Review of software applications to address ongoing cost pressures. So we are revising our licenses and softwares to operate our systems. This shows a waterfall chart against our budget against full year forecast. So the original budget operating deficit was 1 million, almost 1 million. Then, of course, we have increase in revenue, then reduction in the expenses, and then decrease in the foundation receipt. In total, full year forecast operating deficit is 664,000 AUD. So we are reducing deficit. That's a good message. Our financial position is asset has reduced by 374,000 since December 2024. The liability has reduced by 407,000 since December 2024. Equity has increased by 33,000 since December 2024. And then our financial stability measure, the year-to-date financial stability measure is, as I said, 16.18 months. The full year forecast financial stability measure is 15.52 months. The original expectation was 15.05, so it's improved. capital expenditure. So for the 2025 forecast, we have a big number here, but it's because of the 1 million for the car park destruction and the air conditioning replacement, but we're likely to be deferred future. APNIC office in December 2024, EC approved the disposal of the APNIC office and entry into a long-term lease to accommodate our secretariat. The secretariat still continuing to progress these plans. So as DG mentioned, we have a good long-term financial outlook. So by 2027, we are going to return to a balanced budget. That's good. And our 2026 activity plan and the budget will be released before the end of this year. So that's all I have. And actually, the slide contains the more detailed numbers. So if you are interested in, please look at the material on the website, please. That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Max. So next will be APNIC EC report. I will be presenting the APNIC EC report. Okay, good afternoon. I'm Kenny Huang, Chair of APNIC Executive Council. I'm happy to deliver APNIC Executive Council report. So here's the list for full APNIC Executive Council member, and each of them already introduced in the beginning. So we have different representatives. From different we have 8 executive council members. So the function of APNIC Executive Council is to represent the interests of members. So in the governance of APNIC, so we also oversight the APNIC activity and also consider broader internal policy issue for APNIC strategic direction. Also very important set membership fee and endorse the past consensus toward the implementation. So that's later we will do that for the policy consensus process. Okay, that's the APNIC EC meeting. APNIC EC meeting run 4 times per year, and 3 EC meeting was held since APNIC 59 AGM. And next APNIC EC meeting will be in Shanghai end of this year. And 3 elected leader meeting will be held this year, including a face-to-face gathering during APNIC 60. So the meeting minutes and record you can see from the website, apnic.net/EC. That's all the APNIC EC meeting attendance. You can see the full record from previous meeting until now. That's full participation from the EC. Also, we got a lot of input by the community regarding to the APNIC bylaw reform, and especially so APNIC EC has considered proposal from the community, and we consider 2 proposals. The first potential proposal will be extend EC member term from 2 to 3 years. That's the first potential bylaw amendment. Second will be introduce the term limit for EC member, and consultation conduct starting from April this year. And also we still continue to have the consultation at this meeting. So the EC seeking community feedback and on implementation, especially we had just hold a section early today in the morning. And the consultation open until 26th of September. So please feel free to contribute your idea, your suggestion or comment, and go to the bylaw.apnic.net. So the other important issue is LDG graduation concession. So LDG company received 50% discount on fee. And following community feedback, the EC consider that will be an impact to the account holder following graduation. So the EC recognized the very small account holder that are not most sensitive to the fee increase. So upcoming LDC graduation include Bangladesh, and that will be December 2026. Then will be Solomon and December 2027. Then next one will be Cambodia. That will be considered to be December 2029. So for LDC graduation concession, the EC has resolved provide additional 25% discount to account holder in a very small tier in the first year following graduation from LDC status. So they will benefit around 71% graduation account holder in Bangladesh, Nepal, and Laos. In addition to that, also the EC also resolved to provide 25% discount for 1 year to very small tier account holder and from the economy who already graduated from LDC status. Since the LDC discount came into force, that will be 2009. That means the account holder in Samoa and Bhutan and Vanuatu, and who are in a very small tier, and that will be when they renew in 2026, who will be account holder will be limited to their LDG graduation will receive a 25% discount for their 2026 fee. So that will be another LDG graduation concession. Okay, that's the finance. Max already introduced the APNIC Treasury report. I just break down into a small detail regarding to our forecast. For 2025 full year forecast operating deficit will be Australian dollar 665,000. So the organization realignment outcome will be will deliver within the approval personnel expense budget, and full year forecast a net deficit of Australian 396,000 after gain an investment portfolio of Australian dollar 269,000. And operating and net deficit forecast are improvement to over the approved budget deficit of Australian 1.1 million, because our budget was 1.1 million deficit. So 2026 activity plan and budget will be released before end of this year. That will be released, and APNIC is on track to return to balance the budget by 2027, and that's a commitment not only from DG but a commitment from the entire EC as well. For NRO, NC, and SOAC, and actually they have very exhaustive year because they are taking care of all the ICP2 policy implementation and discussion and collect the input from the community. The NRO EC has appointed Akinori Maimuma to be the NRO number council, ASO address council for a 1-year term from 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026. So right now, APNIC representative to the NRO, NC, and ASOAC in 2025, including Dima, elected by APNIC community, and Nicole Zhang, elected by APNIC community, and so Akinori Marimuma, appointed by APNIC EC. So EC thanks all the current NRO, NC, ASOAC member for their great contribution, especially to working on the ICP2 IR governance document. I think that's a great work from them. APNIC conference, and thank you all for having helping APNIC 60 a very successful event, especially our local host from VNIC, and we still have a lot of sponsors. Thank you very much, including the VeriSign, AWS, and also APG, and a great contribution from you. And also Africa 2026 APNIC 61 that will be held on from 4th to 12th February next year. that a little bit change the schedule. So to be mindful, that will be held in Jakarta. APNIC 62, that will be in December next year, will be held in India. So be prepared for your trip. So members' feedback. We are welcome all the common suggestion and question from our member. So you have different kind of channel to go through the submit your feedback, including easy submission via my APNIC, and also we have APNIC contact phone from APNIC website, and or either you can raise your question, suggestion, and comment during the APNIC conference. So in the interest of transparency and accountability, all correspondence and feedback to EC receiver from member and the community is published on the APNIC website. So that all the comment and suggestion question will be published. That's all. Okay. So that's our full APNIC Executive Council member, and we are happy to hear, to serve you and listen to your input, suggestion, question. So that's all from EC report. Thank you very much. So next, I'd like to, sorry, check this. Tony? Okay, I'd like to invite Tony for delegation audit update. Tony, please.
Hello again. I'm going to be talking about the Resource Delegation Review Program. This was formerly called the Delegation Audit Program, but after some feedback, well, quite a bit of feedback we received from the community about some of the cultural connotations of audit being different in different economies, we've renamed it to be the Delegation Review Program. So it's the artist formerly known as. So just the background of this for those of you who haven't been following this. We set out on this journey at the end of 2024, and the objectives of the program have not changed. The idea of this is to ensure compliance is being maintained with APNIC policy across the NIRs and obviously the APNIC itself. This is good governance to do these reviews. There's two parts to the program. The first of which is the aggregated data analysis. This is where we look at around 10 years of registry data, delegations and transfers made by the NIRs and also by APNIC. And the second part is some supporting activities which we're doing at APNIC just around process improvements and operational improvements. One point I do want to make is that when we do these audits, APNIC is doing them, I guess, using the data that we can see for the NIRs. The NIRs themselves have obviously more data on their delegations and how those decisions were made. And so any findings that we make are preliminary only. And those preliminary results, we work with the NIRs to go through those, and then we can find whether anything that we have found is correct, or actually have other information which shows that it's not so. So we work closely with the NIRs on this program. So where we are, we completed the JPNIC audit earlier in the year with no adverse findings, which was great. We've continued to work with IDNIC on the findings there. That remediation process continues. To date, they've identified 102 delegations which will be reclaimed. We will work with IDNIC to verify the results of their investigation into our preliminary results. But I know that they are investing quite a lot in process improvements and doing a good job at that. So we thank you for their cooperation. The one that we have been working on is with the APNIC. That review is approaching finalization. We have a temporary second opinion review process in place at the moment with the APNIC as well, just to ensure that we have alignment and understanding on delegation practices. So while policy remains the same across the region, the practices on how that is enforced is slightly different across the NIRs. And so we have the second opinion process in place to make sure we have that understanding. There we go. In terms of the future reviews, when we first started out in this process, we had hoped that they would all be completed by the end of this year. We've discovered that that's not going to be the case. We have made the decision to extend out the timetable to 2026 to make sure that the remediation processes can occur properly, and also that we're not overstretching our resources in managing the remediation processes and second opinion audit, the reviews. And so we don't want that to compromise other projects by pulling staff off other things to help with this. So we are going to stretch it out to 2026. That will also include the APNIC audit. That will also happen in 2026. But we do hope to have one more NIR completed this year to move the remainder over to next year. Now, there are some supporting initiatives, as I mentioned. These are mostly process and operational improvements that we're making in APNIC just to make sure that we are always doing the right thing. That includes policy compliance spot checks, which have been established. We're working on a sorry about that. We are establishing account accuracy reviews. This is where we proactively go and help our members to make sure that their registry data is accurate and kept up to date. That process will be implemented this year. And we're also reviewing all of our procedures with delegations. And so we have had some changes to team structure, as Jerong mentioned earlier, but we are reviewing all of our resource delegation processes and workflows this year as well. The reporting that we do on this will continue. We have committed to keep reporting to the community every quarter on our activities. This is part of that. There will be and the next report will happen in Q4, but prior to that, we will make sure that we provide an update on the results of the APNIC audit. That will happen towards the end of this month or early next month. And that's all I have. And again, happy to answer questions in open mic if you have any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. So here I'd like to open the mic to the floor again. If you have any question, comment, suggestion, please go ahead before the mic. And before you ask question, share your name and affiliation. Thank you very much. Any question, comment, suggestion? Yeah, please.
Hello. Thanks. Is the question answered for the overall session or just this one?
Whatever you want to ask.
Okay. I have 7 questions. Okay. To begin with, the balanced budget that Jerong presented for up to 2027, I just wanted to set the questions in perspective. 2024 was 400,000 positive. 2025 is minus 665 negative, which is deficit. 2026 is projected again deficit by 308K. 2027 is projected for 211K positive. So from 2024, $400,000 Australian dollar positive. 2 years we're going to be negative, and then only we're going to positive. So I'm keeping that perspective in. So I digged a little bit after that. So the first question is whether this is correct numbers. So second thing, the question is the operating expenses are 292K above budget. That's a deficit, right? So more expenses. Now I dig further on why the expenses is decreased or income is not enough. I also figured out, I also heard that the membership income has reduced. So have we analyzed why the membership has reduced as compared to the previous years? Has there been any changes in policy, or is there any rejections that we are doing for the membership application? If there are any rejections, what are the percentage the membership application rejection? And another question is on the treasurer front is the salary cost, Jarong. So you mentioned that there were few management cutoff, and the salary cost was supposed to be reduced. Now, I'm looking at the numbers right now, year to date, vis-a-vis the September report. 2023 was 10.3 million. 2024 September, 10.9 million. And 2025 September is 10.6. The reporting format has changed. I've talked with Nathan about it. Thanks, Nathan, for changing it. But it has made my life even more difficult to compare year by year. So we probably will have to figure it out next time, Nathan. So thanks for considering that the last time, request of the last time. So the salary figure has not changed in spite of the changes in management structure, this thing. Now, the fifth question is the travel cost. So another thing that we talked about was the travel cost. The travel cost for 2023 September year to date was 1.1 million. Last year, 2024, it was reduced to 895K. And again, the 2025 September, as of this report, it is around 800K. So the travel cost has not increased significantly, and it's projected to go from 2024's 2 million cost to 1.77 million, 11% drop. But whereas if I heard Tony's report properly, he said that the travel management expenses has reduced by 74%. So the management, if the management cost has reduced, the saving of 11% doesn't make any sense. So the cost itself has increased. The travel has increased definitely, right? So that the saving that we're making of 11% is through the management cost saving, not the travel cost. That's my understanding. So why the travel cost has increased in spite of, is it like a separate travel arrangement that we are making, different programs or anything? So just wanted to understand that. Sixth question, 1 million for car park and aircon rectification looks very high in the context that we are also talking about the office requirement is there or not, a lot of people working from home. So what kind of rectification and changes are we making with $1 million whereby the financial situation is so tight? Regarding the LDC discount, I was the one who proposed this, and then thanks for the consideration for 25% for 1 year for very small member against what we requested for 3 years period and other terms. It's some effort, but not what we requested actually, so that we will have the separate community consultation on that, and we will revert back on how we respond to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think we should answer the questions.
Nathan, you're going to respond to question or ask question? Response.
Both. Nathan Harvey, APNIC Secretariat. Sorry, Rupesh, I didn't get all of your questions, so I'm going to need to repeat some of them. I think your first one, though, was, were the numbers correct? And yes, the numbers that you read out were correct. The second question that you raised was in relation to membership. And I think the comment that you said the membership revenue has decreased. Membership revenue hasn't decreased. What has decreased is membership growth. And there was an observation in the Treasury slides that said, if not for the changes to the fee structure, our membership revenue would decrease. So our membership growth is declining, both as a result of fewer signups and more mergers and acquisition, higher closure rates, but membership revenue itself hasn't decreased. Sorry, Rupesh, can you, I'm going to need to...
Nathan, I can answer the one on the travel management costs. So, Rupesh, the the travel management costs I'm talking about are the fees and costs that we pay each time that we basically purchase travel services. And so not the travel tickets, not the cost of hotels, which for all of you who travel, they just continue to go up, I believe. But the travel management costs, which is the actual booking fees, by implementing our own system, we have reduced those fees right down by 75%. They make up a small component of our entire travel budget, but that's what I was talking about when I mentioned those travel fees have gone down 75%.
Okay, next.
Nathan, did you want to answer the remainder of Rupesh's questions first? Before Bikram, we will want to hear from you, but I just think we might want to hear the other answers first.
Thanks. So the next question was about salary costs, and what we presented in the Treasury report were year-to-date salary costs. What I can report is that for this year, our salary and wage costs were budgeted to be $20.8 million. We will finish in line with that budget. So in spite of the realignment activities, we've been able to deliver this year's budget within the allocation of $20.8 million. Moving forward, realignment will result in reductions to salary and wage costs of about $1.8 million. But there are some other mechanics at play, which we will outline in the 2026 budget. We're forecasting that APNIC Foundation funding will decrease, and there will be a need for us to absorb some salary and wage costs from that decrease in funding. So we expect as a result of realignment, we'll be able to absorb future reductions that we're forecasting in APNIC Foundation funding. But that's a conversation for when we present the budget a little bit later in the year. It's still some preliminary work that we're undertaking to quantify that fully. We've done travel costs. The car park rectification and air conditioning costs. So in our capital works budget, we had $1 million set aside for car park rectification and air conditioning replacement. The building that we're in, the air conditioning is absolute end of life, and it's about a $500,000 bill to replace that. There are also some large subsidence issues in the car park. The building itself is safe, but there are large subsidence issues that need to be dealt with. Our preliminary estimates to rectify those issues are about $500,000 as well. So that's how we get to the $1 million of CapEx. We don't want to spend that money. As Maz said in his report, we are planning to dispose of the building and to move to a long-term leased premises. We think we're better off focusing our efforts on running a regional internet registry rather than building maintenance and repairs and the like. So what we're working on at the moment is a disposal of the building and moving into a leased premises. We don't need to spend that money, and we're trying not to spend that money. So it was set aside in the 2025 budget, but before spending it, we would like to dispose of the building, and that's something we're actively working on at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Thank you. My name is Bikram. I am from Nepal Indian Foundation. I am talking on behalf of myself. Some of my answer has already addressed, but also I want to ask on base of Treasury report. So in Treasury report, there is APNIC office. In December 2024, the EC approved the disposal of APNIC office and entire into a long-term lease to accommodate the secretary. So my question is, what are the long-term financial implications of switching from, ownership to lease? And how does the lease commitment affect financial flexibility during potential money constraint? That one question. And in the product line, I think in Tony report, you have mentioned multiple product management working on a different product offering. What are the actual use strategy for each APNIC product? So, and how you are giving this financial constraint? What are the strategy reason for maintaining a multiple product line?
I'll take that one first. So we have different product teams within the business. Oh, sorry.
We get a question and then we respond together. Sorry, Jonathan, you're next.
Okay, my question is on a very different topic. Jonathan Brewer from Telco 2 New Zealand, APNIC member. I see financials related to APNIC Foundation presented by the EC. It was my understanding that APNIC Foundation had its own funding. Could you please explain what is the governance relation between APNIC EC and Foundation right now? And how is it possible that APNIC might be contributing to the operational funding of the Foundation? Thank you.
Right, thank you. So I'd like to lead the, okay, go on.
Yeah, my name is Sameer Kalut. I'm working with the National Internet Exchange of India. So I'm asking these questions in my personal capacity. The one related to the foundation. I think we provided a glimpse about the work which the foundation is doing, but not a complete report. So we usually present that during this meeting or like in the one which in the APNIC. So something, so that the members could get to know what is happening at the foundation level also. Thank you.
Okay, right, thank you. We try to okay, next question.
Hi, I'm Rajesh Panwala from SmartLink Solutions, India. I have a question that this NIR review is going on. So how many NIRs are already reviewed? You mentioned JPNIC is already reviewed, IDNIC is already reviewed, but how many are pending? And what is the actual timeline to review any NIR? And are you finding any best practices followed by any NIR which is being communicated to the other NIRs? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We just stopped the question for a while and try to respond to all the answers together. And so I'd like to probably respond from the last one, NIR. And right now, probably Tony can update if any change. Right now, it's been reviewed 3 NIR already, and the other one is in the process. But just as mentioned, we do have schedule to do the NIR review, but actually we also another global policy document is working on, for example, like the IR governance document. And what if the global IR governance document become a global policy? Then all the review process was based on the IR governance document, need to consistent with the IR review document. For example, like a recognition, derecognition process, and data escrow requirement. So at that time, we will integrate APNIC review process with consistent with the global IR document, policy document. Make sure everything will be consistent. And probably Tony can update regarding to IR review status right now.
Sure, thank you, Kenny. To answer your question, we have, as I mentioned before, we've completed JPNIC. We're in the process of working with IDNIC. We're almost completed the VNIC one. I can't give you an exact timetable for when this will all be completed. It is really based on what we find in doing the analysis and what remediation work is required afterwards. Some of the things that we find may be quite complex in terms of how processes need to be changed or if address space needs to be recovered. So it's very difficult to give you an exact timetable of when it will finish. We really would like to get this all done and dusted next year. As Kenny mentioned, we do have the RIR governance document on the way as part of the ICP2 process. We hope that that will be completed in 2026, and it does have, as part of that, we do need to, as an RIR, we need to comply with that. It does mean that as part of that, the things we need to comply with is obviously address policy. And so we would like to have all of these reviews completed before that comes into place. But I can't give you a hard and fast timeline, I'm sorry, but we will try and get them all done this year. The other second part of your question closely with the NIRs on best practice and sharing our processes and sharing knowledge. And certainly if there are best practices among the NIRs that we can learn from, we are absolutely open to that as well. So I hope at the end of this process, or at least a little bit further on in this process, we'll be able to share some of that information back to the community in the updates. Thank you very much for your question.
This is Jerome. So there's a bunch of questions. So what I will try to do is I will recap the question and then ask one of my team members to respond. This way it might be easier. So just going in order, regarding Bikram's question about the APNIC office, what's the long-term financial impact for switching from ownership of the office to a lease? Nathan, would you be able to share some of that, please? Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan Harvey, APNIC Secretariat. Hang on, let me talk about this. Long-term, when we talk about long-term lease, we're talking about over a period of 10 years. We've done financial modeling over that period of time and determined that it would be more cost-effective for us to take out a lease over that period of time than it would be to remain in the current building. That is taking into consideration all of the operating costs of the lease versus the maintenance costs and ongoing overheads associated with ownership of the building. If I can just sort of expand on that a little bit, the decision to, or the business case to sell the office was not purely a financial one. There are some inherent issues with the building. As I said, it's structurally sound, but there are some inherent issues with the building that mean it takes a lot of time for the Secretariat to maintain and run it, such as the subsidence issues that I mentioned and the end-of-life air conditioning. It's also not in a great location. We're right beside a development site, and that development site, once it's under construction, will create a lot of disruption in the nearby precinct. And so for us, both financially and non-financially, it makes sense for us to exit that building, to go into a lease premises and to do away with all of the burdens of ownership so that we can focus on the work at hand of running a regional internet registry. But as I said, over a 10-year period, which is the period that we're looking at, our modelling demonstrates that the costs of leasing are far more beneficial than the costs of ownership of the building. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nathan. Okay, then the next question was related to that Secretariat had presented multiple product lines. And what is APNIC strategy for having different product lines and for having to maintain them? Tony, can you take this, please?
Thanks, Chirong. So Bikram, we have a number of products and services that we provide to the community. Some of those are, I guess, community-facing, and some are more sort of back-end developments. So the way we structure an APNIC, we have a number of teams who look after each of those, some looking after the registry, others looking after sort of some of the member-facing and information products. For each of those, we invest the time needed. And in terms of our strategy, I guess, as we want to continue to improve what we have for the community. So for a lot of the registry work that goes on, it's a lot of work that tends to happen in the back end of the systems to make sure that they are improved. For the more, I guess, community-facing products, so things like Dash, Rex, etc., we talk to the community and consult on sort of features that the community would like to see, things that will, I guess, things that will help them. And then we monitor for usage and look at products that we provide to the community that are well used. We continue to invest in, and those that aren't, we look at them to decide what their future is. So, in terms of, I guess, we're not looking to create more product lines, so to speak, but just improve the services that we provide to the community right now online. Thanks.
Thank you. Then the next question from John was with regard to the foundation. And John asked, can we explain the governance relationship between the EC and the foundation? Can we invite Jeremy to explain that, please?
Hi, Jeremy Harrison, General Counsel from the APNIC Secretariat. So the relationship between APNIC Foundation and the APNIC EC is that APNIC Foundation is a public company limited by guarantee. APNIC is the sole member, so it has the right to appoint the directors of that company. So the EC does exercise that right to appoint and remove directors. I should flag that I have a bit of a conflict here because I've also been appointed as a director of the APNIC Foundation. But that's the relationship there. In terms of the finances that are reported, I'll defer to Nathan if he needs to correct me on anything here. But that's where, for instance, APNIC might be contracted by the foundation to conduct training in a certain location. That income will be reflected there, and the expenses are also then reflected in the financial reports as well. In terms of the absorbing of the costs that Nathan mentioned with a reduction in foundation funding, that's where, for instance, we might have trainers that were hired to fulfill training commitments in previous years. With that funding being reduced, obviously we wouldn't have the income from the foundation, so APNIC would start absorbing those costs.
Yep. So we have the other question, related question from Samir about that the community largely gets a glimpse of what the foundation is doing, but not the complete report. So the foundation provides a report at the AGM each year, so side by side the APRICOT meeting. So if the community would like, we can invite the foundation to do an update for both meetings every year. They are transparent in terms of, if you go to the website, you see the activities as well as the financials that's on their website. But if the community would like, just speak to me. We can add them in to update the community. Thank you. Good feedback. I think that wraps up the questions so far.
This is with regard to the question raised by Rupesh and Bikram with regard to the APNIC building. See, in the EC, we are very seized of that fact that what to do with the office. What are the costs of maintenance of that office? Vis-a-vis, we exit that office and move into leased building. So this modeling we are studying in detail. We are trying to find a good option so that we move to a leased office, because with work from home, we don't require that much space, number one. The current building where we are, the location is a little dicey. You know, we can go very high in that area. The rules permit us. But problem is that because of the slope and the location of that building, we are not able to get basements to do the parking. And without parking, going up doesn't make any sense. It is, won't be able to do it. So there are a number of factors which are coming into play here. So we are trying to make sure that we take the best possible decision, whether it is financially, location-wise, work-wise, operations-wise. We are trying to make sure that the best decision is taken. Plus, whatever accruals we get out of the sale of this building, the EC has yet to decide on whether that money would be reinvested into another site, right? Or into putting it into investments to get revenue out of them. So that is one decision the EC has yet to take. So we are going as the situation is developing. So we will keep the community updated on this. It's an important issue. And I thought I will just give you a clarification to that. Thank you.
Okay, we still have a few minutes. Public can have 1 or 2 questions.
My name is Bikram from Nepal. Thank you. Just clarification on, leasing and, switching to the leasing answer. But however, from the financial perspective, we used to have, gain assessed, right? So in terms of having own building and having, making a financial, to build own assessed is more better than, having liquidity. So in terms of South Asia perspective, we used to have, we are in a bank also, we want to build our own infrastructure. So if we'll have our own infrastructure, then that should be a caring environment. So our recommendation is, if we are selling that properties, then if there is another options to go for the better options, that will be more better. Thank you.
Sure, we'll keep that in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there, Christopher Hawker from Australia. I am an APNIC member and also for the record, the proposal author of Prop 156 for assignment of temporary IP resources. Now, just regarding the charging scheme from the APNIC EC meeting back in December 2024, I've received some feedback from at least one member of the community who has attempted to apply for space under this policy. And I'd like to note that in the meeting, it was resolved that a fixed fee of 50% of the annual membership fee would be charged, regardless of how long the member had requested the space for. So if they had requested space for 2 months, they will be charged 50% of the annual fee, which in my view, I feel goes against the spirit of that particular policy. Now, the idea of the temporary assignments is to support your network operator groups, your special interest groups back home, any community training that might take place where they may need this address space. And if an organisation needs, say, a /24 and a /32 for a period of a month, but they're charged 50%, that's just over $1,000 Australian that they're being charged to use the space temporarily for 1 month. So what I'd like to do and what I'd like to call on the EC to consider is a potential review of that charging structure to potentially charge, just as an idea, maybe 1/12 per month or part thereof, or even introducing a category where it's divided into 3-month blocks. So if they want to apply for space for 2 months, then they might be charged, say, a quarter of the annual fees, if that makes sense.
Okay, right. Thank you. I try. Sunny, would you like to respond to the question?
Sunny from Secretariat, in terms of charging fees or actual policy proposal? What would you like me to respond?
That's a policy.
Policy is a temporary assignment for conferences and events, and as Christopher mentioned, SIGs and other meetings. So based on that policy, any event host or organizer can request APNIC A/24, V4, V6, and AS number for a duration of that conference. Now, regarding the fees, I don't have any information on that one, but as it says, the policy is a temporary assignment. And once the conference or the event is concluded, that address need to be returned to the APNIC.
Okay, right. Thank you. Nathan, would you like to update?
Nathan Harvey, APNIC Secretariat. Thanks, Chris. So as you know, the APNIC EC are responsible for setting the fees. So I think from here, we can take your feedback on board. We would need to have a discussion with the EC. The one point I can add is that since the temporary assignment policy was introduced, we actually haven't had any requests at all for temporary assignments. But that's just a bit by the by. As I said, we can take this up with the EC and have a conversation with them about the fee mechanisms. Thanks.
Sorry, if I can just step in there for a minute, Nathan. I've been advised by at least one member organisation that they have attempted to apply for space under this policy. And due to the fact of being charged $1,000 to apply for this space, they outright rejected the offer and opted for another solution. So people have applied for space under this policy.
May I give a rationale actually that's why we are charged 50% of yearly fee, because if you actually, even a temporary assignment, but after maybe using for a week or a month, but there is a cooling off period for actually to then you can use in another event or something. So altogether that time we see decided the fee, but even if there is a request, I think we can discuss again, and if there is a challenge, we can try to make it
Yeah,
easier for the members to get this opportunity to have this temporary assignment.
Yeah, of course. Look, in the policy, it does state that there is no calling off period. So once space is returned to the Secretariat, it can be immediately redelegated to another applicant.
Actually, if I remember correctly, Christopher, what had happened during the discussion was that the allocation is required maybe for a maximum of period of 6 months. So probably based on that, that thing has been given. However, now you're requesting that it should be done on a pro rata basis, right? So on a pro rata basis of whether it is for a month or 2 months or 3 months, well, your suggestion will be taken into consideration and we'll process that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add, I was going to say pretty much what Pa said. Thank you for the feedback. And I would like my team to, Vivek, can you reach out to Chris after this? Then just get some details and then we can look at how we can improve the process. Yeah, if indeed there were members who wanted to apply for it, but actually implementation wise they couldn't, then I think it's a good for us to understand those, and let's take that. Then we can present it to the EC and we can discuss how to refine it. So we'll work on it. Thanks a lot for the feedback, Chris. Thank you.
Ajay Kumar from DKIX India, speaking on behalf of personal capacity. So although that running not-for-profit organization is good, but running organization making the balance sheet minus, I'm not for it. So I suggest, although the EC members are very expert, the new DG is expert, so there's need to be some realignment, reduce the cost, reduce the minus part, and make the not-for-profit. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We just mentioned we have the DG put a commitment, and also EC fully agrees with the commitment. We ensure 2027 will be a financial balanced. And right now, actually, this year financial was budget 1.1 million deficit, but right now reduced to $600,000. So right now we can see the progress from financial point of view, and of course we keep working on. And regarding to the real estate problem, the office space. Actually, EC are very careful to review the requirement from office space. And of course, your recommendation and your suggestion definitely take into consideration. But the real estate market actually is quite frustrating at this moment. And we were very careful to review the requirement from the office space. So that's pretty much all for the first section. I'm happy to adjourn the first section. And so we can have a break, come back at 4:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you.